In this episode of Man versus Marriage, we will be having a discussion on what are you thinking about? What is the narrative? How is that serving you?
The podcast.
How good do you want your life to be?
It's truly about becoming the best version of yourself that's possible.
This is Man versus Marriage.
The podcast.
Welcome back to Man versus Marriage. So happy to be with you. This is Coach Rita and
the Q dog up in the hizzle for shizzle.
we're going to have a great discussion today. We're going to get into talking about what you're thinking about and how is that narrative that you're thinking about is serving you. And Quincy's going to lead off with this because I think he has some great insight personally to bring to the table to help you men out there and really get you to realize the thoughts that you're having. So, Quincy, take it away.
I'll take it away. Thank you, Coach Rita. You know, one thing that's interesting to me is I never really thought I could think about what I'm thinking about.
True.
And it sounds like a Jedi mind trick, but it's not. It's not it's not circular talk. It's actually taking the time to think about what's going on in your mind, because what I had come to was being so distracted that I didn't have to pay attention. It was just on to the next crisis, on to the next emergency. It was on to the next amount of chaos, so I didn't have to kind of look at those things that were going on in my mind.
Right.
So, Coach, I'm thinking today, based on the three things that you said we would cover in the show, one of the biggest things we can do is teach those guys how to think about what they're thinking about.
Yes.
So I would say mission number one is to give the guys an exercise to think about what they're thinking about, because you really, in order to do change management, as they say in the corporate world, you got to know what you're working with.
Right.
You have to identify the details, them dirty little details about what's going on. Hey, dude, listen, you may have the perfect type of thinking. And if you do, we could learn something from you. Send us an email. But you may be like I was, and like we had talked before the show, Coach Rita, I can't talk about all of these statistics, people, this and that, because I don't have them.
Right.
I just know the product that I'm looking at around me, and it's the same product I was putting out before I decided to start thinking about what I was thinking about. So could you walk us through a little bit of an exercise on how to initiate that, if you will?
It's really being able to have the ability to sit quietly. I know, like what you were just saying, Quincy, about we get so distracted, preoccupied, busyness in life, this crisis, that crisis in life, that we never really stop ourselves enough to see what's going on inside of us. We're just doing life at such a fast pace that we never allow ourselves that quiet time to get in touch with ourselves. And then we wonder why we're having the outcomes that we're having. So what I would suggest that you would do is just take some time to be with yourself. And I know sometimes, like what you said, thinking about what you're thinking about, like who does that? If you want to discover where your thought process is taking you, then you know, and you want to make those adjustments, this is the thing to do, is just to really set some quiet time aside and really get in touch, if you want to say, in contact, engage those thoughts that are going on in your head. And you can't do that when all this chaos is happening around you, because that's the excuse not to.
Right.
So you don't want to fall into that trap. So it's really setting some time aside. And I'm not saying hours, okay, guys? I'm just saying 5 minutes. Try 2 minutes of what am I thinking about? Like, what is it that I'm thinking about? When we discussed this, Quincy, I was thinking in the sense of marriage, not so much on a personal basis. I think sometimes when it comes to marriage, we think organically like this is just going to happen.
Yeah.
And there's no thought process in making things happen. So I think just setting some time aside, I just challenge you with 5 minutes. And you're writing down thoughts of what you're thinking about. Go ahead, Quincy, and explain like what you were saying, like the first thing when you wake up in the morning.
Sure. So here's where I kind of started off when I started this adventure. The first thing I tried to do was sit for 5 minutes and think of nothing. Give that a go. See how much fun you have there, where you just sit and think about nothing. It's really difficult because your mind is constantly racing.
Yes.
But the goal we want to get to is say this, okay, make a 5-day plan and get yourself a journal. Hopefully by now you have one. Use your journal, and when you wake up, what are the first things you're thinking? Is it, bleep, here we go again?
Right.
Is it, oh, great, here's all the things I have to do today? Is it, oh, man, the fight we just had last night, I don't even know how I'm going to talk to her this morning? Or is it what I've developed? And I'm not saying be like me. I'm saying here's what I've developed. I wake up and it's like, heck yeah, baby. Here's a new day, new opportunities. I'm just happy to be alive. With the chaos in my life, that's not how I always woke up.
Right.
I decided to become that. So that is the first, step to this exercise. And then Coach Rita took it easy on you. Dude, I'd say set 10 minutes aside, 5 days straight, and sit and listen to your thoughts. Be alone with you. First of all, if you don't like you, you got work to do already. And I didn't like me for a long time, Coach. I did not like me.
Yeah.
And I had to learn how to develop into somebody who likes themselves.
Right.
That's a challenge all in its own. But it's possible to like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So wake up, first thoughts, just write them down, whatever comes to your mind first. And then sit for 10 minutes and listen to the thoughts that are going on. Is it about work? Is it about the kids? Is it about your wife? Is it about how you're not enough, you don't measure up, you saw yourself in the mirror and you're not happy with your waistline, or you got moobs like me, or your arms aren't big enough, your shoulders aren't big enough? What is the talk going on inside your mind? What is it? And start writing it down to make some notes. And then, after 5 days, go back and read through those thoughts. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Yeah, because you want to know what you're working with.
Right.
You want to know how your day goes subconsciously. Now, probably for the rest of this entire podcast, Coach Reed and I will refer to Ed Milet. He's
great.
He's fantastic. If you don't listen to his podcast, go find him and listen to it. One of the things that he encourages people to do, which I had gotten out of the habit of doing, but immediately started the very next day after I heard him, was setting 10 minutes aside and thinking on purpose, thinking about what you're going to do, who you are becoming.
Right.
And here's a funny story. I never thought I would share this, but I'm going to share it. I'll just share this, okay? Is it okay?
Yes.
So here's what I've decided to do. I've decided to imagine in my mind that time is like a dog, and I have a leash on that dog. And time has now become my best friend.
Uh-huh.
Time goes when I say it's time to go.
Right.
Time stops when I need it to stop. Time sits when I need it to sit.
Mm-hmm.
And time is very loyal to me.
Right.
So I look at it now, not that time is getting away from me, but that time is man's best friend. And so that is how I've started to redefine what time is, and that now time is walking alongside of me.
Right.
I don't care if it sounds crazy, but I've become a lot more productive in using time as my ally instead my enemy.
That's really good.
But that comes from thinking about what you're thinking about. And those are some things like you're going to be really new into this process when it comes to hearing what you're thinking. I just encourage you guys to do it.
Yeah. I think true. Sometimes you think this is really stupid. Like you sitting there thinking this is really stupid. You're telling me to think about what I'm thinking about. And it goes right along into the next thing that we want to discuss is what's the narrative? Like,
Right.
what are you telling yourself? What are you believing? And because of that, you will live your day based on those thoughts that are the repeater that's constantly going on in your mind. If you're thinking thoughts that you're no good, you don't add up, how do you think your demeanor, how do you think you're going to show up in life thinking those thoughts?
That's right.
You're going to show up exactly how it is that you're thinking. So it's really important to understand your thought process, because then you could start challenging it. You could start challenging that narrative that keeps telling you, you know, you're no good, or you didn't add up, you fell short. You know, like what you said, you got in an argument with your wife and you're just like boom, 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 boom. You're at it in your head. And when you don't understand the power of your thoughts, if you don't understand that how you set your whole day is based on those thoughts, then you're fooling yourself.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to bring to light that, you know, your thoughts, how you see yourself, how you think about yourself, have a huge role on your relationships. Huge role on your relationships. So it's getting practical, and it's getting down to the nitty gritty. You might be thinking this is really stupid. You might be thinking like, really, I don't have the time to do this, or you might not want to do this. Then the next thing is to ask yourself, how is that serving you then?
That's right.
Because why are you tuning in then? What is it that you're wanting then? Because if you don't feel like we're not going to challenge you to become the best version of yourself, the first thing that we would challenge you is your thoughts. What are you thinking? I know it sounds like a ridiculous question. However, there's so much purpose and meaning behind it, because then we can give you the next step of, okay, that's what you're thinking. This is the narrative. This is the repeater that's going on in your mind.
Right.
Okay. You're living your life according to that narrative. So I don't know. Do we want to use an example, a narrative of, let's see, what could we use?
Well, before you bring that narrative out, I'll say this. I'll submit a couple things to you real quick. Is it fair to say that the way that you are thinking and what you're thinking about yourself is exactly how you're treating the people around you?
Exactly.
So it's fair to say that if you're thinking, part of that corrupted file within your hard drive, if you will, is thinking constantly that you're not good enough, then you're going to be treating other people, no matter what they do for you,
Yep.
like what they do is just not good enough. It just doesn't measure up.
It's so true.
So the way that we think, this is ourselves included, the way that we think becomes a byproduct of how we treat those people around us.
Yes.
So it's absolutely crucial to the quality of life that you want and how you want to treat others to discover how you're thinking.
Right.
Because if you don't, I don't know, maybe you're like, heck yeah, dude, that is great. It's a great idea. Good. Do the exercise. If your first response is, that's stupid, I'm not going to do it, do it anyway, because that mode of thinking,
Right.
because it's not how you grew up or what you know, you're like the perfect example. You have right now within you the ability to change that hardwire or that operating system in you, to discover Just go think. We're not even telling you what to think.
Right.
We're just asking you to listen to what you think.
I think sometimes too you have to look at it this way. If you, the listener, I just want to challenge you, if your first thought was, how stupid is this? So my question to you is, when anything new comes your way, you think it's stupid. You're not willing to get out of your way and get out of yourself to try something new, to explore a different avenue, and you just look at everything as being stupid. And then we wonder why we're stuck.
Right.
Or why we're in the situation that we're in, because there's not a willingness in your part to be a little bit more open to say, okay, I might not understand all of this and I don't know where you guys are going at this point, but I'm willing to give it a chance. I'm willing to put some forth effort in this, because obviously you want to change. Obviously there's something in you, because you wouldn't be tuning in. There's something in you that knows there's something greater, there's something bigger. They might have the answer to my question. So I just challenge you that if you are thinking that was your first response, then you have to ask yourself, is that how I see everything that's presented to me in a new way? Because I just think everything's stupid, so I don't even try anything. So I'm sorry I interrupted you. It's just a thought.
No, that's what we need, because truly the only thing we're limited by in life is our thoughts.
Right.
It's our thoughts. Thank God Walt Disney did what he did. Now
Right.
there's Disneyland. Thank God Thomas Edison thought he could continue after he failed.
Mm-hmm.
He did not limit himself in that area by stinking thinking.
Right.
That's a thing we say in the South. You got stinking thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get rid of that.
Right.
But how can you get rid of something that you don't know you have? Mm-hmm. Look, guys, listen. Coach Rita and the Q Dog, me, Quincy, we've all got blind spots.
Oh, yes.
Everybody's got blind spots. So it takes two loving, sincere, authentic, amazing people like us or other people in your life to come and say, hey, I want to challenge you just real quick, because this may be a blind spot.
Right.
And the only reason we're putting it out there, we made a commitment on this show when it started to share our journey. And the only reason we're putting it out is because it's an experience that we've had that has upgraded our life. It was game changer status.
Right.
So maybe somebody out there is challenging, pushing back on us. Obviously, we feel like people are going to, so we've already kind of jumped out there to do some damage control. But it all comes back to this question: what do you want, man?
Right.
What do you want? What do you want for your life? I've answered that call. I want the best version of myself that's possible to be out there, available, and operating.
Right.
And you, Coach Rita, what do you want?
Right. Right. You have to define that in your life, because what you want is something. I mean, there's no two ways about this. You guys, it is going to take work. It definitely is going to take work. You just can't just show up in life and think that, like I said earlier, organically, this is all going to happen. It just doesn't work that way. You really do have to put work into it. And there is benefits beyond what you could even think of.
Yes.
Just getting your thoughts in line with what it is that you want in life. Like I said earlier, is your thoughts serving you? Are they serving you? Are they benefiting you? Are you growing? Are you learning? Are you able to look back last year and look at yourself now? And it's only been 5 months? Like next month is in a couple days. It's going to be May. Is the last 4 months of the beginning of the year? Have you set yourself apart and said, wow, I've grown. Like, I've made a commitment to grow. I've made a commitment to do these things and to grow in these areas. If you don't put forth an effort, put forth a purpose, the purpose of what you want, you're just going to be living life. Our life is just going to be living you.
Well said.
You're just going to just go like just go day to day, whatever life brings me, and there's no purpose. There's no rhyme or reason. You're just going to deal with what's been dealt with you that day. And that's not what we want here. We want you men to rise to the occasion because there's greatness in you. You might not have been told that, but we're here to tell you that and to bring out the best version of you. That when you come and get out of your bed and you come walking down the hall, the best you is what shows up. And it's those mindsets that we're challenging you. The thought process that you're dealing with is what it is that we're challenging you to think differently, to think and purposely think in a different way, in a different realm.
Right.
And I know it's not always easy. Think about how your thoughts are serving you. Like what you were explaining, Quincy, how we think and what we're processing is the exact way that we treat people. How are people responding to you? That should be able to be a wide open, eye-opening moment of how your thoughts are serving you. Are people more, are they attendant or have the tendency to, are you attracting people or are you deflecting people?
Good
I mean,
question.
that is like a perfect question to ask yourself in those moments. This is more like on a personal level than it is on a marriage level, because I could go to the marriage thing of what you're thinking about, how you see her. I think that could be the next episode that we do. But personally, are people more attracted to you or are you deflecting people? That's a great question to ask yourself, because then you can say, you know what I'm thinking and what I'm doing isn't serving me. The narrative that's going on in my head is not serving me to what it is that I want out of life.
Right.
And those are moments that are a little more sobering.
Sobering is a very good way to
To
put it.
say, this is how you show up. Like, this is how you show up in the world.
Yeah.
And you get to be the one to make the choice whether or not you're going to continue to show up that way or make the choice to change the way that you're going to show up. And that all starts in your thinking.
It does. And I have a great example if you want one.
Yes.
Okay. So I grew up poor. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I did. We were in poverty. I didn't know we were poor. I just didn't know that. But my dad, he got injured in a car accident, and he was like hustling at the flea market and whatnot to make. We lived on less than $700 a month.
Wow.
Best I remember. Obviously got free lunch at school. We just, if we ever went out to eat, it was a big deal. And usually it was my granny and papa that were treating us.
Right.
And he was a single dad, making his way. And so if I ever got to go to the movies, I was just happy to be at the movies. I didn't care about anything else. I was just happy to be there. Mm-hmm. Well, that's not my wife. With my wife, when you go out, you're making memories. It's an event. I mean, heck, Jeannie offended me. She got popcorn at the Passion of the Christ. I'm like, who can eat popcorn at a time like this?
Oh, my gosh.
But that's just her. And when we would take the kids to the movies, it would be a rub between us, because it's like they just need to be happy that they're going to the movies. And then it's like, she's like, no, it's a thing. It's a big deal when they go to the movies. You get popcorn, you get candy, you get soda. It's an event.
Right.
And one day it just struck me. It's like, I just don't like the way I think about this. I don't like my way. I like her way. Because I don't want my kids to think like me, that you ought to just be thankful for having just enough.
Right.
Now, you could be satisfied having just enough, but it doesn't mean that's the way you need to live your life.
Right.
Why not make it extravagant? It's popcorn and candy, for heaven's sake. So I thought to myself, I don't want to think like that anymore. I like your way of thinking better. And I want our kids to do the same.
Right.
So that when I get my grandkids and go to the movies, they know it's going to be a big event and we're going to get popcorn and candy and soda and yay.
Right.
And I
What
was
great
like,
memories.
that's what it's like we're making memories here. Life is short.
Yes.
It's so short. Life is short. So why not change the way you think if it's not helping you?
Exactly.
If it's not helping the people around you.
Great point.
If you are so hell bent on thinking one way, but you're not living the life you want, something needs to change. And it's going to be you.
Right.
And that's okay. We've all been screwed up. We all, like I said, as far as blind spots go, we all have blind spots in our life.
Right.
We're simply presenting the idea that you can actually think different than you think now.
Right.
And guess what? You get to decide how you think.
Yes.
But you want to know, it's like coaching. It's like, okay, kid, show me what I'm working with. You know, it's like going to the gym. Okay, show me what I'm working with.
Right.
Let's put it out there. Let's challenge ourselves to see where we're at and then figure out where we want to go.
Right.
So is the way you're thinking serving you or is it sabotaging you?
Yeah.
That's what we need to start there because it's all about what do you want? And unless you know what you want, you're not going to know how to make a plan to get there.
Right.
So, and that starts with thinking. And that is like one of the easiest examples for me to point to. I had to upgrade my thinking, you know, and there are areas where Jeannie has shifted her thinking in my direction.
Right.
And we learn from each other. We learn from you. We learn from Bill. We learn from Tony Robbins, Ed Milet,
Right.
Jim Rohn, Les Brown. You know, we learn from those people. Because when you hear something, if you have a knee-jerk reaction, generally, it's talking to an area in your life you wish you could change.
Exactly.
But you've given up. You're so disappointed that you've given up. And we're here to say, hey, man, don't give up, man. We're here for you. We're here to help you, build you up, lift you up, make you believe that you're better than you thought you could be.
Exactly.
That's what we do. That's what we, Coach Rita, that's what we do.
Right.
Don't
We give you
forget about it.
purpose.
That's right.
We give you, you know, it's really wanting you to live your best life. You only get one chance, only one shot. You
That's
only
right.
get one life. Like why live it disappointed and feel like you failed and all those negative thoughts? Like why live that way if we could come in, share with you 30 minutes of saying you're so much better than that.
Right.
And how we adjust that and how we can make that happen is let's just deal with your thinking. And then from there, we could launch, okay, what do you guys want? What do
Yeah.
you want? What do you want in your marriage? But until we start addressing your thinking, and more times than not, it's the negative thinking, how can we help you in that? How can we help serve you in that? And I
Right.
think it's really just tackling your thoughts, because your thoughts are a very powerful thing. And
Really.
I think a lot of times we don't give it enough credit to say that, oh, they're just my thoughts. Yeah, because most of the time we live out of our head and not out of our heart.
Right.
And you need to show up in life with your heart wide open.
That's right.
So,
Very true. And, you know, I think our aha moment came a couple episodes ago when we figured out, hey, we've put out 24 hard-hitting, fantastic episodes. More knowledge, more knowledge,
Yes.
more knowledge, more knowledge. But what happened? Guys were going out and doing exactly what we said you shouldn't do.
right.
And that's because we're not reaching past your thoughts. You think this is a good idea, you think it's a good idea, but you haven't taken the time to master it. And that's why I put the disclaimer out there to say, hey, dude, don't do what I did.
Right.
Because I hear something new and then I go take it and I try to
Full
exercise
throttle.
it. It is full throttle. It's a brick on the gas pedal. Take the brakes out.
Yeah.
Brick on the gas pedal. I'm going to go and I'm going to try and spread whatever this is all over the people I know. Mm-hmm. But until you own it, people are not going to receive it from you. You know, and I think you came up with something. You brought some facts to the table about how long it takes to change. And if I'm not mistaken, you said it takes 6 to 9 months of
for you to convince yourself that you've changed.
Isn't that weird? It takes 9 months to grow a child.
Right.
That's weird. So to birth something new, a new thought process in you, it takes like 9 months for something from the time you conceive it to be born.
Right.
That is just crazy. I never thought about it that way. And then how long does it take for other people to see the change in you?
12 to 18 months.
So 12 to 18 months. So it takes time. Yes, it's work. Yes. It's work. You know, and the fear you have sometimes when you're putting yourself out there is that people are going to be too afraid that it's too much work and I just don't have time to do it. But trust me, as a person who has put the time and energy into redefining myself and redefining my marriage, you don't have time not to do it. What did Jim Rohn say? Jim Rohn said this: discipline's measured in ounces, regret is measured in tons. Do you want a ton of regret for not putting the work in a little bit at a time every day? And it's something that you're truly capable of doing. I had to get that out there.
Okay. I think that was good.
So one final thought I want to leave you with is this guy, Dr. Dispenza. That's his name, right?
Yes. Joe Dispenza.
Dr. Joe Dispenza. Go check this dude out. He would blow
your mind.
For real. He really will. What he talked about is, you know, those people, they just act a certain way. Well, that's not really the way they acted normally. There was a circumstance or a situation or an event that happened in their life. And what he's been able to kind of dial out, I don't know how you do this scientifically, but, you know, science is something that you observe over time and it proves itself.
Right.
That what happens is something happens to you and you get in a mood. And you're in a mood and it happens. It's like, dude, what's wrong with you?
Right.
I don't know. I'm in a mood. Something happened to me. It's like, hey, dude, it's been 5 days. Are you just going to stay in that mood? Well, what happens is we don't have the tools to get over those things.
Right.
So over the course of time, that mood turns into a temperament. And it's like, hey, what's wrong with old Jimmy? I don't know, man. It's been like 6 months. He's just been upset at whatever the situation happened, and he just cannot get over it.
Right.
And then after that, once you stay within that temperament for a long time, it now becomes part of your personality.
Yeah.
Where it's like, that's just the way he is. New people meet Jimmy, and it's like, oh, crap, Jimmy is this way. That's just how he is. And then you confront Jimmy, and it's like, I don't know. I can't change. This is the way I've always been.
Right.
And when you start to really... Maybe initially you won't get into it, but as you get into becoming an expert in mastering the tool of thinking about what you're thinking about, you're going to discover that there's some of your personality traits that weren't there originally. And it's going to give you a great opportunity to redefine your personality as a man. And once you do that as a man, you're going to be able to redefine that in your marriage as a husband. You got kids as a father. You have friends, redefine it as a friend.
Right.
You have a job, redefine it as an employee, as a business owner, or whatever. There's just a brilliant ripple effect here that when you start to discover these things, and you start to change and challenge these things, it's a game changer. It's upgrade status.
Right.
And it affects all kinds of areas of your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Great point.
Well, I think we gave you the 3 points we promised, and we added on some extra value.
Yes, we did.
For no charge.
Right.
That's
Absolutely
right.
free.
That's right. Hey, so I want to tell you, we would love your feedback. That's the only way we can really change or modify or enhance the direction of the show is with your continued feedback. It really helps us to know what you're struggling with or what you're successful in so that we can share it in an effort to continue to improve you and give you the best opportunity to be the best version of yourself, because you and the people around you deserve that man. That's what people deserve.
Absolutely.
So why don't you reach out to us via email? It's coach@manvsmarriagepodcast.com. That's coach at man, V like victory, S like Sam. No, I'm going to change that. V like victory, S like success. How do you like that?
That's a good one.
manvsmarriagepodcast.com. And come connect with us on Facebook. We're really starting to step up our game when it comes to social media at MVSM Podcast. We're right there on Facebook. So come connect. You get direct access to myself and Coach Rita, and you can ask questions, start discussions, and we will be there to support you. So until the next time, we are out.
The podcast. How good do you want your life to be?
You gotta live on purpose, for a purpose.
It's truly about becoming the best version of yourself that's possible. This is Man vs. Marriage, the podcast.